thanks to Gerry Gross, who knows what is good and what is great. And that's why I associate myself with you. And there might be another toast or two.
Yeah, thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. Thank you. This is my wife. This is my sister. So I have my BlackBerry here because I made some notes. So the title of this toast is The Deliverer. The Deliverer. Then the subtitle is I Should Be Smarter, meaning me. I Could Be Dumber, easily, meaning me. And then the subtitle of that is From Piles of Books to Clippings to Emails. So my great blessing is being the son of my father. My sister's great blessing is being the daughter of my father. And you all know him well. And Jack Farrar, where's Jack? My cousin Jack. And Heidi, who are here. Heidi said to me earlier, you think about a birthday for a 90-year-old guy, you get there, there may be like 3 or 4 people there, and they'd all be 90. But look at this amazing collection of friends and people that my father loves, and one of my very favorite friends of my dad's is Hosani, and Hosani, can you stand up, Hosani? So Hosani came over to my dad earlier to say hi, and I forget who was sitting with my dad, and he turned to whoever was talking to me and said, this is Hosani, my best friend. So life with my father has always been pretty much the same, except the medium has changed. So I have a very clear memory of the house we grew up in Westport, which had very steep stairs, up to a small bookcase area, and then every other room was bookcases, floor to ceiling. And I remember the kind of trepidation I would have, and if I came home I would have a book report or a report I would have to write, and I would try not to let my father really know about it, but every once in a while he'd find out, and he'd leave, and he'd go away. And he'd come back. He'd come back. He'd come back and he'd say, here, these should help you with your book report. I was 10 years old. Can you imagine, Rosanna, what this was like?
It's so true. Very true.
So then I went away to college, and I came back to Boston where my parents lived, and stayed in a great apartment building I lived in for a while, and then I moved to Baltimore. And the greatest blessing of our family, in some ways, was my mom getting Parkinson's, because my parents had to leave their house in Westport and move to a retirement community, and we found this great place, Brightwood, and they were able to move down here. So now, for a while, what would happen is I'd say, Dad, I'm going to this place for this project or this, and I'll be right back. He'd drive over every Sunday, and many people experience this. He'd drive over with his little bag, and he'd say, here, I have some clippings. I'd say to you, here's one from Andy Broome about diabetes. Here's one for Freddie about Texas ranching. I said that one about pecan farms I thought Alex would like. Here are yours. This will be 1 week. And I pick up some article by Ada Louise Huxtable, and I look at the date, and it would be 1982. New York Times, clipping, underlined, highlighted, that he'd been saving in some place. And he'd come over with his bag. He still changes his bag, and he still comes over. But sadly, the clippings have gotten smaller and smaller, because now when I say, Dad, I have a new project, he'd say, I'll be right back. I have my iPad. And I just don't have to wait till Sunday. I can email them to you every 25 minutes. And then as my great colleague Kevin King and my partners at Gerry Gross know, they then get them. They'll see, from GJGXXX, here's an article about, the new internet in Malaysia. So here's what he sent to me yesterday.
It's true.
And I quote,
Like he didn't have anything else to do.
4:10 p.m., October 8th, 2011. CC Robert Beachy and Gail Raisin. So Robert and Gail receive this as well. Add, comma. Reed knows that's what I go by people who love me. Add. By separate not email, by separate I sent you a copy of the review in today's NYT, New York Times, of a new documentary film entitled, quote, Varian and Pootsie, a 20th century tale, unquote. This movie begins in 1935 with Varian Fry. I'll be happy to send you all the article. The movie begins in 1935 with Varian only 2 or 3 years out of Harvard. He and I became friends after the end of World War II. Varian was the coolest cat I ever knew. Varian was the coolest cat I ever knew, said my 90-year-old dad. I met him through my close friend, Harry Ford, for whom I had gotten a job at Knopf that had been offered to me as I moved on to Harcourt Brace. Harry then went on to become the best poetry editor in publishing, and it was through Harry that I met Varian because Knopf published Varian. One evening, Mother and I were strolling in the East 50s in New York and ran into Varian. Very much alone, he invited us up to his nearby apartment where we spent the rest of the evening with him. Before we left, Varian offered us the pick of his library. We were somewhat thrilled to take a few books. He was reducing his shelves prior to moving to Connecticut to remarry and to earn a living as a teacher in a local prep school. Mother and I attended a small wedding at his bride's home in Reading. Laid back in manner as he was, Varian had chosen to make very little of his wartime efforts in Vichy, France, that work going unrecognized until the late 1980s, early 1990s. Over the years, this ubiquitous undercover work has indeed become legend. Now this film, XXX. So it has been with my father for my 57 years, my sister's almost 60 years, and so it will be for hopefully a long, long time going forward via email. I just want to close by saying, Dad, how much I love you, how I keep these emails that you send me in a little file. I don't delete a one. Just really revel in the love that you have around you with this incredible collection of friends and family. And I just want to end with one little story. So I hope everyone's been able to meet Josh and Pauline, and Jack and Heidi, and other cousins of ours who are here, and Cindy McIntosh, and Beckley, and Emily, and Ryan, and Chris. Because my dad really my dad was an only child, and his parents divorced. And so his family is really through my mother's family. And as Sarah said earlier, our family really was always our friends. And we've kind of reconnected with many of our families. So it's extraordinary that Elaine Cohen, who's one of my dad's and my family's oldest friends, and Marisa, and Sylvia Erskine, and her friend Tom have all come down from New York and Connecticut, and it's just a great testimony. So thank you so much to everybody, and thanks, Dad, for all those various pieces of media that you've given me. All of our lives, so thanks.
Follow. Maybe Sarah would like to say a few words.
I don't have anything to say, but I had the same experience as Adam did growing up. And I'm going to cry, but my father's my best friend. I talk to him every other day, every couple of days, and cherish every moment. Sorry, I'm crying.
What's wrong with the other days when you're not talking to him?
And as you all know, I mean, he's an amazing human being, and we are just as blessed as you are, and blessed by him. So, thank you.
Thank you.
So, I'd like to say a few words for Uncle Gerry, if that's okay. And
Who are you?
I'm Uncle Gerry married my mother's sister, so he's my Uncle Gerry, and Adam's my cousin, and I'm cousin Josh, and Uncle Josh. And I'd just like to say that I'd like to talk about honor, because Uncle Gerry's probably one of the most honorable human beings I've ever met. It's an honor to be his nephew, and it's hard sometimes to be to be proud of being a human being, or an American, or a Jew. But Uncle Gerry makes me proud to be a human being, because he is a Renaissance man. He makes me proud to be an American after going with him to see the B-24 bomber that he was a navigator on. It makes me proud to be an American. And he makes me proud to be Jewish, because, well, that goes along with being a human being, where we all have things to be proud of, but I'm proud to be Jewish because Gerry really exemplifies everything good about being Jewish. And I just feel blessed. So that's what I have to say.
Well, I forgot to do one thing which Jess reminded me of. So I hope you all had a chance to look at these pictures. Old pictures of my family and my dad with my sister. So we were on the vineyard this summer. We go everywhere. That my dad took us to our whole lives. And Perry and Kyle, I think, or somebody was at this little tag sale earlier, and they came running over to me and they said, "Dad, look at this painting."
B-24 bomber.
These are B-24 bombers, which, if you don't believe in karma, yesterday I stopped by Brightwood where my dad lives, and I ran into the security guy at Brightwood, and he said, "Oh, by the way, there's an air show in Westminster, Maryland today, because there's a group of planes, a B-24 and a B-17. It's the only one still flying, and they fly around the country, and they're going to be at Westminster only for 2 days, yesterday and today." So today, a bunch of us got in the car and surprised my dad, and we went out there and saw the only B-24 that's still flying. This is the plane that my father, that Josh is talking about, that he flew 24 missions on, risking incredible life and limb, as well as his teammates, his crew, and his experience here. I know he counts as some of the most important experiences in his life, and he was right up here in the tip of this plane for 24 missions, leaving England and flying over the coast, the British, across the British Channel over France, and they'd be attacked by German fighters deep into Germany to drop bombs over the German military. So this will now hang over your fireplace, Dad, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Sherry, for getting it off of our fireplace. It's hard to explain.
I'd just like to say something. As the aging process, which we all experience in one way or another, goes on, and the hearing goes, and the eyesight changes, and so on, there's no loss in aging like the loss of good friends. Nothing matches that. And I've had some wonderful good friends. And when my dearest and oldest friend, Albert Erskine, passed away about 18 years ago, it was Peter DeVries, a mutual friend, who wrote, "Losing Albert has created a hole in our world." And I still feel that hole. Friends mean that much. And with Arthur Cohn, Elaine's husband, it was the same thing. He meant a great deal. It was Roger Shattuck, Bill Arrowsmith, Margaret McElderry, Wolfgang Sauerländer, Arthur Cohn. And, but now I'm blessed because I have so many new friends. So I really thank you all for that. I thank you all for coming here. It's been a
Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.